Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Rockingham and Bellows Falls, and welcome to Take Two.
Take two. We had a little false start this morning.
Yeah, we had a little false start, but we're here. Today it's Mike and Marty.
It's been a long time since it's been just Mike and Marty.
I know.
We've tormented the audience with just the two of us.
But, we sort of like that.
It's good to catch up on stuff.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's good to catch up. We don't get a chance to talk with each other that much anymore, so it's nice to be able to just do some things with the crowd here. What's happening with local events?
So local
Where do we
events-
want to start today?
I'll start with a past local event, actually. I'll start with a shout out to Saxons River and the 4th of July Committee. The Saxons River 4th of July is alive and back.
Very well.
Very well.
It's alive
very
and
well.
very well.
Started with the 5K road race, had about 70 runners, and then there was the parade. And I believe there was some dignitaries in the parade, and I think we have a picture of those dignitaries.
There
they are. There they are. And sadly, some people didn't know Popeye.
It's an amazing thing because there's a distinct age where if people were over 50, they sort of recognized Popeye and were really happy about Popeye and olive oil. But other than that, like kids and everybody was just like,
Who are you?
What
Avenger are you?
Yeah, what Avenger are you? But no, we did. It was Popeye and olive oil. They actually, I hear Popeye was introduced to olive oil in 1929, so it fit with the 20s. Yes, I had to do a little research to sort of justify wearing Popeye.
So that's a really old cartoon then. If it's
Yeah,
just
it was.
started in the
Yeah.
20s. I guess I didn't realize it was that
a cartoon in the paper before it
Oh,
was.
okay.
And a little bit interesting fact: olive oil had a cartoon, was in the cartoon first, not Popeye. Popeye was introduced 10 years after olive oil was already in the comic strip, and it was all about this young woman who was like a flapper, and it was all about olive oil and her life, and she had some guy that was this sort of slacker guy named Ham Gravy.
Which is kind of like indicative of names back then,
Yeah, it
like
was
that type of
olive oil, and her mother, I guess, was castor oil, and her father was motor oil or something like that, and but they were the oil family, and then Popeye came on later as a sort of a replacement boyfriend.
Well, you learned, I didn't know that was part of the 20s, so then it did.
Yeah, it was really definitely part of the 20s.
Because that was they actually had a theme. I don't know if they've had themes in past years.
I think they have, but I don't know how well advertised.
So
they
it was
were.
fun. There was Main Street
because
Arts
they
had
had,
a whole little bunch of little flappers.
A whole bunch of
doing a
flappers,
dance,
and they did the Charleston downtown,
and the bike project. They had folks dressed in
exactly.
period costumes. So it was really just a fun day. They had street vendors, and so I'm sure it was a lot of work to figure it out after being absent for 2 years. So huge shout out to the Saxons River and the committee to bring it back because it was nice.
It was really nice. I mean, when you think about things coming back and coming back to normal, that's one of those things that you really want to have come back. And it was neat in that they had a great turnout too. I mean, I don't know how many people were there, but the streets were lined. I mean,
and people had traveled because a lot of the runners were. I think there was runners from Arizona. There was runners from other places, so they were obviously coming to, they'd come to the area to visit, and whether they had family or whatever, but they participated in the race, and it was nice, and
yeah,
so
shout out to Rotary for helping. You guys did all the staffing for the race.
We did do the staffing for the race. Yeah, Matt Guild has a well-oiled machine as far as running a race, so it was pretty easy. He had it very organized, so it was really pretty easy to do that.
But still, you need that manpower.
You do need the
manpower. It's nice to have the Rotary out there doing that. That's great.
We did.
Yeah, the pie contest.
Did you win?
We didn't win. We entered though. We had a good time entering, and
what did you enter? What was your pie? Or is it a secret recipe and you can't tell?
No, I can tell. It was a cherry blueberry flag pie. So it was cherry, 3/4 cherry, 1/4 blueberry. It had stars in the one corner and then stripes
Oh,
with the
neat.
crust. Yeah, it was really cool. There were a lot of really original pies. The other one that I liked was Amy Howlett did a pie that was basically strawberry shortcake. It had a crust that tastes exactly like strawberry shortcake biscuits.
Oh, neat.
And then it had fresh strawberries in it with blueberries and whipped cream. And then stars all over the top that were baked biscuit.
Oh,
It was amazing.
well, I'm glad I didn't find the pie booth then.
No, there was some
managed
really good
managed to
pie.
miss the pie booth.
And the other benefit of us doing the pie is we did 2 pies so we could pick the better of the 2, and then we
And then
ate
had
the
one
other
at home.
Yeah, finished that this morning. That was
That's the way
great.
to do it. So happening at the Opera House is the second week of the Minions. Is it Return of Gru? The Rise
I
of
don't
Rise
know.
of Gru. I have no idea what that means.
I know the Minions are very cute, and a lot of people like them, but no.
Yeah, not my thing either. But anyway, I think the kids like them, and so Rise of Gru. Classic movie is Forrest Gump. And the nice thing about tonight is it's co-sponsored by the BF Baptist Church and Rockingham Entertainment Development, and tickets are only $3 tonight.
Oh, nice.
So it's a
like
bargain.
half price movie.
Half price movie. And happening this week out in Main Street Arts is actually the first week of Hamlet. So Wild Goose Players, John Haddon from Wild Goose Players is directing Hamlet, and they're showing it at Main Street Arts on Saturday at 7 p.m. And on Sunday, there's a matinee at 2 p.m. And then next weekend, it'll be Friday night at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 2 p.m. So it's a little
Yeah.
because they switch so it's Saturday, Sunday, then Friday, Saturday. It's a little confusing. Tickets are available at Main Street Arts or Wild Goose Players, either one of those locations, or you can get them at the door. And I think it's going to be an interesting. There's actually a show. I don't know what the title is, but there's a show on Fact TV right now
Right,
where Alex
that's-
interviewed
They're interviewing
John
the
Haddon.
director and
And then the next play at Main Street Arts, which is the Book of Alice, that's Sean Roberts, right? And they're talking about each of their productions. And so if you want to learn a little bit more of what their take on their productions is, then check out that show on Fact TV.
yeah, and the Book of Alice was actually Sean wrote the play himself, and then there's it's a whole different take on Alice in Wonderland. It has a lot of the same dialogue or characters in it, but it is really different.
Nice,
That's-
nice. So hopefully we can maybe get Sean on the show.
That'd be great. We should.
Good, awesome. And one more thing happening on Main Street Arts this Friday. I had spent a lot of time looking up local events this week.
Yeah.
Is something that I hadn't heard of, but it's called Play Every Town Concert, and it's at 7:30 on Friday night at Main Street Arts. It's a UVM professor, David, and I'm not going to pronounce this right, Ferzig. He's a pianist, and he wants to bring awareness to climate change. So he's doing this. His goal is within the next 2 years to play a concert in every town in Vermont.
Oh, nice.
And if you want to learn more about it, you can go to the uvm.education website and just look up Play Every Town, and there's more about why he's doing it. But there'll be some local singers accompanying him. But I think that was kind of neat. I just happened to pop up on Facebook
Yeah.
today, so that's what kind of prompted me to really delve into looking for things on Facebook was, I don't know, I heard like an offhand conversation. You know how you're waiting in the grocery store line sometimes and people are chatting. And again, I heard that there's never anything to do around here. And I was like, well, I think there's lots of things to do around here.
Right.
You just have to, sometimes you have to search them out a little bit.
I'm amazed at the number of things to do around here all the time. I mean, it just seems like there's so many things. Like this last weekend, it was just
Oh, there's so many things to
packed
choose from.
and crazy.
And Farmers Market, we went to Farmers
Oh,
Market
yeah.
Friday night, and that is up and running. And I hear that this week they're going to have Northwind Farms is making some very special limited quantities of jerk wings.
Yeah. Did you eat last week when you were there?
We did. We got dumplings.
Yeah.
From the dumpling dumpling booth, and they were delicious. And then I got a nice iced tea from the bakery. I can't. Is it Grandmont Bakery,
I'm
Grandview
not sure,
Bakery?
but he does some amazing breads. But then the dumplings. We've had the dumplings like every week now. And that's sort of like our
It's your thing.
appetizer. We'll have 3 dumplings, and then we'll go have dinner somewhere. And boy, whew.
We were hoping for pizza because was it you that had spoken
Yeah.
about the pizza the week before?
Yeah.
But the pizza person wasn't there, so
Oh.
we which I guess was a good thing. So then we didn't have to decide between
Well, you
dumplings
can
and
do
pizza. We can. But we actually went there. The church across the street was having a cookout, so we went over
Oh,
and
nice,
and supported that and got burgers from there. And so we had burgers and dumplings.
Yeah, but this week is going to be the wings. I think that's going to be really good too. That should be.
And I think each week as it progresses, they'll get more and more. Like they just had a few vegetables this week. There'll start to be more vegetables. I
Yeah,
think. But there
yeah.
still was a pretty good crowd, and it's a nice
Yeah.
location. And they had
Izzy
Izzy Holloway was
yeah,
singing,
he was there last week.
and that was nice. So that it's low key. It's just fun. Again, you get to run. It's like the Sexton 4th of July. You get to run into people, and
That's exactly
after
it.
2 years of not
Running
being able
into
to
people.
run into people. It's just nice to run in to have a place and chat outdoors and stuff. So, and then the final event that I have to list is we had Sam Meskel here a couple weeks ago talking about the Bibliobike. Well, the ribbon cutting and unveiling of the Bibliobike is happening on Wednesday, July 13th at Parks Place. There'll be a Cliff storyteller and book giveaway.
Oh, nice.
So all youth will be able to select 2 free books to keep, and there'll be a ribbon cutting. There'll be the new Bibliobike, and it's at Parks Place. It's actually, it's at the Central School. It's free to all ages. Rain and location will be in the school, and Parks Place Community Resource Center will be on hand with drinks and info for families. So I know Sam was very excited when she was here, and it sounds like a great.
Yeah, I wonder who they got to pedal the bike around.
I think her assistant. I think last time she was here, she was actively looking. She had gotten a grant to hire an assistant, and I'm pretty sure she's hired one. And I think that's part and parcel of that assistant's
great.
job is
Yeah,
actually pedaling the bike around. Yeah. So I can't actually. It'll be neat the first time you kind of see it. Going through town or headed to its event or whatever.
Right.
But
There's some cool bikes going around. I mean, I happened to be when we were at the parade, we were with the Community Bike Project group, and man, they had some really interesting bikes. There was a girl there with an e-bike that was talking to us about that, and then Bonnie was pedaling this tricycle bike. Have you seen it?
I've seen that with a cart on the front that someone can.
Right, and so they can. It's like handicapped accessibility and mobility on a bike for.
But they don't have to pedal.
They don't have to pedal
Living
at all.
pedal.
They can ride and they can go around. So there was a person that was in the parade that probably wouldn't have been able to be in the parade, and she got pedaled around, and it was really a lot of fun.
They do a lot. They do a lot of parades, and they do a lot of. You can volunteer there, right, at the bike project if you're interested. And then I think, isn't part and parcel of it if you volunteer a certain number of hours and you earn a bike?
I think that's part of it. Yeah, you can do that. I think there's a variety of ways you can get bikes, and that's one of them is by doing that is putting in your hours and putting in sweat equity and then coming back with the bike.
And with gas prices, it seems to make a lot of sense.
Tell me about it, yeah. You can save yourself a college
Tuition or gas, whichever you want. Good thing we're all set up now for like home meetings and Zoom meetings and classes online. Because I wonder if that will affect college admissions at all, or commuting. I know like community college, you can go to community college campuses if more people will opt to stay with the online than commuting to.
I don't know.
I don't even know if they have. Maybe they've gone all online. I'm a little bit out of touch, but. So what else have you been up? You've been doing some filming.
Right. Well, and hopefully we're going to have Chris Bergman on in a few weeks. But he and I and Sue have been working on a project that he came up with that is a reculturalization project for the Ojibwe Indians. And it's the Ojibwe Indians of Fond du Lac, I guess it's Canada. It's out in Michigan, and it has to do with flint knapping, which is making stone tools.
And we did have him on to show us that,
Right.
a demonstration about that, but that was just to show us what's the purpose. I think the purpose
Well,
is
the purpose
interesting.
of these videos, they're in training videos for the Native Americans. That one of the things that is one of the shame things that's happened is they've sort of lost that piece of their culture, is that people, the actual flint knapping and making stone tools, people, because of their education, don't do that anymore. And so one of the things Chris is doing is introducing this to them, so that one of the things that he does in his work is he goes out and looks at sites, and he can look at a site and say, well, this was actually a place where they made stone tools. This is actually a cultural site for the tribe, because he can look at the stones and say, well, these were tools, and this is a waste product of making tools, and this is, and this site is actually culturally significant, where you might look at it and say, well, there's just a bunch of stones here. And but what he's doing is doing these training videos so that Native Americans can then watch the videos and then do that themselves. So that gives them sort of they can learn enough to be able to sit at the table and talk with developers and other people and say, well, we don't, if you're going to take care when you're developing this, because this is a cultural site, because we recognize it as a cultural site. And so what we're doing is he's going through all the terminology and all of the, I guess, not so much, you wouldn't be able to flint knap afterwards, but you would know enough to know where to look for more resources. Yeah, and so it's a five-part series that we're doing, and we're just finishing up the last series right now. So, but it's an interesting project. I mean, he's just a fascinating person. He's
a wealth of information.
A wealth of information,
Yeah.
yes, and especially a wealth of information on that culture and Native Americans. Sue always says if there's ever going to be an apocalypse, he's the guy you want to be friends with, because he can build tools, he can recreate a civilization just out of his backyard, because he also he grows native corn, and then he grows tobacco and different, and then he can flint knap. So he has all of the skills, and it's just fascinating to be around him, and his intellect is amazing.
And yeah, we're hoping that when the series is finished, he'll come on and talk a
yeah.
little bit more.
I think he's
going to
come on here, and also he wants to do a little, like a condensed Reader's Digest version for Westminster and the Historical Society there, and because he's really closely connected with that. And yeah, that's cool. Which brings up another thing, is we went to the West. We talked about a little bit about this.
Yeah.
It's the Westminster Historical Society is open again.
The Czar Bradley's office.
The Czar Bradley Law Office is open. Plus, they have a museum on the third floor of the town hall. I didn't know if you knew that. I guess it's the second floor.
I've driven by and I've seen signs. They have a sign they put out when the museum's open, and I guess I kind of saw the sign but didn't necessarily make the connection.
Yeah, I think
that
it's
was
going to be
there.
open every Saturday through the summer from like 2 in the afternoon to 4 in the afternoon, or 2 to 5 or something like that. So it's something that you can go see, if you ever have 10 minutes and you want to do something. But the Czar Bradley that's the other thing that's really just, it's
Now, where exactly is that located?
If you go into Westminster and you go to where School Street and the I think it's School Street and
Route
Route
5?
5 intersect, there's this house there that has all the flags.
Okay.
You ever seen that on the porch? That's the Czar Bradley house, and right next to it is a little, what looks like a little, like it might have been a detached garage or a garden building or something.
Yep.
That's actually the law office there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because he was he and his father, I think, were both lawyers, and they were involved in a whole bunch of stuff. But as far as I think one designed the flag that was flown over Fort McHenry when the Star Spangled Banner was the other did something about the Electoral College, but I get the son passed away, I think, in the 1850s, and they closed his office when he passed away, and then never changed anything. So when you go in now, it's like it was in the 1850s, and which is just that's sort of neat.
And
it
then
even has the original wallpaper. Yeah, which I guess was at the time.
So do a lot of houses in Bells Falls.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 1850s, but
yeah. At the time,
close.
I guess wallpaper was really a fancy thing. So
I think your house was pretty upscale if you had wallpaper.
But so now you look at it. But I was talking with the guy who was giving the tour, and he was like, "Yeah, this 1850s wall," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Now, what is in the actual historical museum? Because there's a ton of history in Westminster.
Oh yeah. Well, in the museum itself, there's which is upstairs in the town hall. They have one of the things they have is a Charles. What was his name? Charles Henry was painted curtains. Remember?
Yes, I remember the whole painted curtain tour and the show. That
Main Street Arts.
Morgan wrote.
Did a whole thing. There's one of his curtains is upstairs
okay.
because it used to be, besides being the meeting house, it was like a performance space, and so it has what I think one of the best. Because I've seen the ones at Main Street Arts and they're sort of small. This covers the whole wall. It's
nice.
really amazing, and it's like a chariot race and stuff. It's pretty cool. So there's that, but then there's also I guess you call it a scale model of the old courthouse that was there, and that's where the Westminster Massacre took place. So there's there's several things about the Westminster Massacre and the whole history of that, because that was another one of those things that you don't hear about, but it was probably if you
hear
really,
about it, but you don't necessarily know
you don't
what
understand
it was.
what it is. But it was probably really the beginning of the Revolutionary War. It was actually the Westminster Massacre, because it was this whole idea of people revolting against the judge had jailed these people and
people revolting against
their government.
Government.
Go figure.
Go figure that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff about that because that was where that occurred, and then they're doing an interesting thing is because the courthouse that the massacre happened at is no longer there. It's actually they tore it. It used to be sort of down by the cemetery at the end of town.
That's where they have a placard there. Do they have
There's a
that
placard
says
there now, but I
Westminster
guess
Massacre?
the road used to go around it.
Oh, okay.
So they tore it down and put the road in.
You wanted a straight path.
But somebody at the Historical Society has taken current photos, and photoshopped the old courthouse into it.
Neat.
So you can see that there too. So I thought that was pretty cool because it's sort of like, because I looked at it and it was like, wow, when did they tear that courthouse down? But that's an interesting sidelight. Anyway, I digress yet again.
In history. No, it's good. It's
Yeah.
good. Today's for digression. We have coming up, we had Leslie Goldman last week. Next week we have a candidate coming on. Let me go back to my schedule. Isaac Evans France is coming on. The following week, Michelle Boslin. And we're trying any other candidates that want to get on and just kind of talk about, what they're running for, and get the word out. They're welcome to. They just have to contact us, greater.rock@gmail.com, and they can come on. I don't know where we at on time, Colin. 1 minute.
We got 1 minute. Get out.
we did
just
pretty
started.
good.
We've been digressing too much.
Well, we've been filling a show because we just didn't have a guest this week. But
I actually
catching up,
sort of enjoyed just doing these shows like this.
yeah. Well, it definitely made me delve deeper into local events today to find more local events to fill the show. So if you think that there's not anything to do around here, just look around.
And it's already we're already through July 4th, so it's like, oh my goodness, things are going by so fast. But I think we're just about out of
done.
time.
Yeah.
So until next week, we'll
Thanks,
see you.
community. Bye.
Bye.
Local news, politics, business. music. Mike and